Good afternoon. You probably won't be surprised to hear that the major media focus in China this week has been on this year's two sessions. That's the major annual meeting of China's legislators and political advisors, and they present a review of the past year and set the agenda for the year ahead. So that means thousands of officials from around China have flooded into Beijing to take part in the sessions. It's all been very exciting over here. Now, there's been a lot of big announcements this week, but one of the most anticipated was the GDP Target. In Premier Li Keqiang's annual government work report, he said that the new target will be 7%. That's down from last year's 7.5%, and it follows the slowest growth China has seen in more than 2 decades. But legislators and advisors are saying that fits in with China's new normal. And Li noted in his speech that this slowed economic expansion will help move the country from an export-led model to one that's driven by greater domestic consumption and a bigger services sector. The M2 money supply target was also announced. It's forecast to grow by 12% this year, but Premier Li said that's a flexible figure depending on monetary policy. Meanwhile, Li said China is targeting 10 million new jobs for urban workers this year, and they're set to maintain the country's 4.5% unemployment rate. But there was some concern. He indicated that big efforts and major reforms would be needed for the year ahead amid China's slowdown. And that's all part of China's comprehensive deepening reform, one of the popular political lines this year. Well, last year we saw a lot of talk about high-speed railways, both in China and abroad. Well, it was just announced that China will be spending $130 billion on new railways and more than $127 billion on irrigation and conservation projects. China's cooling property market has been another major topic of the sessions, and the outlook has been varied among analysts, but the general view is that the downward trend will continue into 2015, but eased policy measures should curb a dramatic fall. Li also announced that 7.4 million government-subsidised housing units would be built this year. That's up by 1 million from last year. As I said, it's been all about the sessions this week. They'll be continuing on until the 15th, so we'll be expecting plenty more news to come out in the week ahead. Thanks and enjoy the weekend.